No, I love music. Every time I hear something hot, it makes me want to move. It makes me want to have fun. But it's something about this joint right here. This joint right here, it makes me want to let it go. Can't let this thing called love get away from you. Feel free right now, go do what you want to do. Can't let nobody take it away from you. Me, away. No time for moping around. Are you kidding? And no time for negative vibes. 'Cause I'm winning. It's been a long week. I put in my hardest. Gonna live my life. Feel so good to get it right. So I like what I see when I'm looking at you when I'm walking past the mirror. Don't stress for the night at a time in my life. Ain't worried about if you feel it. Got my head on straight. I got my vibe right. I ain't gonna let you kill it. See, I would change my life. My life's just fine, 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 fine. Ooh, fine, 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 fine. Ooh, fine, 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 fine. Ooh, see, I would change my life. My life's just fine. Good when you're doing all the things that you wanna do. So welcome, 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 welcome. You are now in the presentation of You Cannot Pour from an Empty Cup. And I would just like to thank you for joining me and listening to one of my favorite artists, the Mary J. Blige. And thank you, Miss Blige, for reminding us that we will be just fine. So again, I say welcome. You are in the presentation of You Cannot Pour from an Empty Cup. So I'm sure that you've heard this very familiar saying before, you can't pour from an empty cup, which essentially the saying means that in order for us as humans to effectively take care of others, we must first take care of ourselves, right? The notion is intuitive in nature, but can be more difficult, well, actually a lot difficult to put into practice. I always hear people saying, well, especially educators saying, I don't have time to take care of myself. I don't have time to take care of me. And I get it because so much of what we do is giving of ourselves. But let me ask you this. If you don't make time to place gas in your car, what happens? Or this, let's say you're traveling along, you're going on a journey, you're going on a trip. And you did fill up before you left, right? But before you get to your destination, your gas light comes on. Are you just going to continue letting the gas light be on? Because what will happen? You will run out of gas. You won't be able to go anywhere. So we are the same. You can't pour from an empty cup. You have to fill yourself up. You have to pour into yourself. So today is all about filling your cup with right now tools to help you on your journey, right now tools to help you succeed. So whenever I do my presentations, I always like to begin my sessions with what participants will learn or gain from the presentation. So by the end of this presentation, it is my hope that you will understand the community resiliency model, understand how to apply the community resiliency model and social emotional learning or SEL to your daily life, and understand the proverbial saying of you cannot pour from an empty cup, which we just covered. And it's my hopes that you will find all of these things beneficial and useful and well worth your time. So right now, I encourage you to have a writing utensil, maybe some paper that you can write down on. I encourage you to be in a very comfortable area because we're going to go through some exercises that you need to be comfortable with. And I just encourage you to get ready to be open because here we go. Before we get into the main course of things, I would like to give you an appetizer about who I am. So, who is Dr. Hamilton-Simmons or Tambryme Hamilton-Simmons? Well, I'm glad you asked. I am currently a senior administrator for elementary school counseling. And in this position, I get to help area elementary school counselors build and sustain a comprehensive school counseling program.
And in this position, I also provide supports to area school counselors with whatever they may need. Before taking this position, I was an elementary school counselor for 11 years, a middle school counselor for 1 year, just 1 year. Whew, you middle school educators and people have my whole heart because it takes a very special person to work in middle school, and my thanks, my praise, my shouts go to you all because I survived 1 year in middle school as a school counselor. And I also was a kindergarten co-teacher for 2 years. So elementary school counselor, a middle school counselor, and a kindergarten co-teacher. I received my undergraduate degree from the University of North Carolina at Greensboro, go UNCG, my master's from North Carolina Central University, and my doctorate from High Point University. And finally, I just want you to know that I'm Tam. I'm just Tam. I'm quirky. I'm an introverted leader. I have a heart to help. And I am who I am. And I've learned to love that. And if you look at my pictures, I do want to say yes. Yes, I am wearing a bucket in that picture. So it was book character day at our school. And I said, if I'm going to participate, I'm going to go all out. And that is who Tam is. She's going to go all out. So here we go. So many of you have heard of social emotional learning or SEL, but you've heard it from the lens of if it's necessary for your students. And of course, you must agree that it's necessary for your students. Social emotional learning is an educational method that aims to foster social and emotional skills to teach people how to regulate themselves. So we can agree that it's important for children to learn how to regulate their emotions in order to be successful in school and in their adult lives. But guess what? Children become adults, right? As adults, we take on responsibilities to get through the daily tasks of our lives. If you think about it, we are adults longer than we are children. We are adults longer than we are children. My gracious, I feel like that's a scam because it's like, who signed up to pay all these bills, right? But anyways, we are adults. And since we tend to take on more as an adult, we do need social emotional learning skills as well. And since you are taking on the education field, you definitely need social emotional learning skills. And as I've shared with you, I've been in the education field for some time now. And I think having my social emotional learning skills and continue to keep in touch with my why is what has kept me in this field. My why is I love helping people. I love seeing others succeed. I just am a helper and I'm a servant leader. So now I ask you, what is your why? And I know what you're thinking. Here's Dr. Hamilton-Simmons asking me to be in touch with my feelings. And yes, I am. I am asking you to tap into your emotions. What is your why? Why did you come into the education field? I'm going to pause for a minute so that you can get that in your head. What is your why? So I have to admit, wait time has always been hard for me. And it's even harder that I cannot see my participants and I cannot see my audience. So if that wasn't enough time for you, then feel free to pause me and get your why in your head because I want you to keep that as we journey through this presentation. So now moving forward and keeping your why in your head as we journey through the presentation, today I want to introduce or either review a concept called the community resiliency model. The community resiliency model, or CREM, as I like to call it, is an evidence-based framework I'm going to be speaking from today. But before I speak more on CREM, I would like to share this video with you about CREM.
Hi, my name is Sandy and I am a certified trainer in the Community Resiliency Model. So what is resilience? Resilience is the ability to bounce back after difficulties. It's being able to use the skills and resources we have to find the strength to cope and thrive in the face of challenges. The Community Resiliency Model, or CRIM for short, is a set of wellness skills developed using the latest knowledge in neuroscience. CRIM training helps people to build personal resilience through first understanding the biology of stress reactions, so how and why stress affects us in our bodies and minds, and then learning the skills that bring the body and mind back to a natural balance and to a sense of inner strength, calm and control. How does this work? Well, our bodies have physical sensations associated with stress and well-being, and CRIM explains how we can recognize and track these signals or sensations. This knowledge, together with the biology-based skills, helps people to work with their body and mind to effectively regulate stress responses and promote a positive well-being. These skills are easy to learn, and people of all ages and from all walks of life can practice and share them. Having seen and experienced the effectiveness of the CRIM skills, I'm passionate about sharing this training so others can have the same success in their work and personal lives. Research shows that when we practice wellness skills, our well-being improves and our resilience grows. This helps us not only to manage stress in the present, it empowers us to confidently face challenges in the future too.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so that was a short video about what CRIM is. So in the video, she talks a lot about resiliency, or the ability to bounce back from something that has knocked us out of our resiliency zone. So I won't go over the biology or the neurology of why this model works, but I will provide you with skills you can begin to use as soon as this presentation is over.
Hi, my name is Sam.
There we go. She wanted to play again to give us some more information of CRIM. So everyone has a resiliency zone. Some may be wider or narrow, depending on traumas or stresses we have faced in the past or currently facing. It also depends on our ACEs score, or our adverse childhood experiences. If you're not familiar with what an ACEs score is, I definitely implore you to research this, as I think it would be advantageous to your work as an educator. So when you are in your resiliency zone, you are doing just fine, right? Our girl Mary told us just fine. You are able to operate efficiently and effectively. Even though you may be experiencing some stressors, you are still able to operate and go throughout your daily life. However, we all experience some triggers that may knock us out of our resiliency zone. Those triggers may cause us to be stuck in the low zone or the high zone. Now, neither one of these zones are good to stay in because we are unable to operate efficiently and effectively. You may be able to operate and move throughout your daily life, but it won't be efficiently or effectively. You are not just fine. So the goal is to get back into your resiliency zone and be able to stay in your zone longer. So like I said, some people have narrow resiliency zone and some people have wider. It just depends on the things that you have experienced in life. With your high zone, you could be feeling edgy, irritable, some mania, anxiety and panic, anger outbursts, and even pain in your body. With the low zone, you could experience depression or sadness, feelings of isolation, being exhausted or fatigued, and even a feeling of numbness. So you may ask, well, how do I get back into my resilient zone? How does that happen? Well, again, I'm glad you asked, because the core elements of CRIM include 6 wellness skills. And these 6 wellness skills are tracking, grounding, resourcing, gesturing, shift and stay, and help now. These wellness skills are used to bring our bodies, minds, and spirits back into a state of balance. CRIM teaches us to help anyone across the lifespan and those experiencing stress or trauma reaction. It's a wellness practice that teaches us that it's about biology and not really human weakness. So a lot of times when people are experiencing a high mood or high knocked out of your resiliency zone or low knocked out of your zone, people may think of that as being weak, but it's not weak. That's just biology. Everybody gets knocked out of our zone. Some people are not going to be just fine all the time. It doesn't make you a weak individual. And like I said, all of us will get knocked out of our resiliency zone, but we need ways to get back in. So why this framework of CRIM? Why did I choose this? Before I answer that question, I want us to watch this video. It's very quick.
Teacher burnout. Are some personalities more susceptible to getting burnt out than others, no matter the support or respect given? Absolutely. Everyone's level is different, and that's okay. It doesn't make it right or wrong. It's just that thing of everyone has their limit. I worked in a really supportive school with an amazing administrator who listened and understood. I also am a person who is really good at compartmentalizing my life. I have no problem leaving work at school or flying by the seat of my pants if I didn't have a plan that day. My limit was when I had a baby. If I had stayed in my classroom, I knew I would not have enough mental capacity to process all of my emotions from the school day and the emotional responsibility that I felt for those kids in my classroom, and then have time to be a wife, a friend, a human, a homeowner, and to figure out how to be the mom that I wanted to be for my baby. I had to walk away for a little bit because being a teacher is walking into every day not knowing how much of yourself you are going to have to give that day. And if you can't give it all, or if you don't have it all to give, you leave feeling defeated, that you're a disappointment to someone. And when that feeling becomes constant, you're burnt out. Today's conversation about how to avoid teacher burnout or prevent the burnout feeling is going to be an honest one.
So, teacher burnout. This is why I chose the CRIM framework. Educator burnout. CRIM is needed. You are needed. We can't afford to lose you or anybody in the education field. What you have is valuable, and your heart for this work is needed. Therefore, it is my personal and professional plight to give individuals strategies they can use in their life right now, today, to help them and prevent them from teacher burnout or educator burnout. So let's get into those strategies. Let's get into them.
Teacher burnout.
All right. So the first strategy is tracking. Tracking means noticing sensations within your body. Tracking is used with all the skills of the community resiliency model. One of the goals of tracking is to learn how to tell the difference between sensations that are pleasant, sensations that are neutral, and ones that are unpleasant. So let's practice. So what I want you to do is find an item near you. What I have right now is this purple fidget that I'll demonstrate with. Hold that item in your hand. Well, first let me pause so you can find an item. Again, I'm terrible with wait time, so I'm just gonna keep going. Hold that item in your hand. So through touch, do you sense this item is smooth? Is it bumpy? Maybe it's a little rough. What color is this item? Mine is purple. What do you notice about the object smell? If you can taste your item, what do you notice about how it tastes? Is it sweet, sour? Maybe it's a little salty. What sensations are you feeling within your body? So tracking is a way just to slow down your thinking. Oftentimes when we are stressed or triggered, our mind and our thoughts are just all over the place. So we can slow down by simply doing a tracking exercise. The next exercise is grounding. So for grounding, it's the direct contact of the body with the ground or something that supports or provides support for the body. So for example, my chair that I'm sitting in is providing direct support to my body. Grounding is necessary when you are grounded, it is necessary to be in the present and to experience safety in your mind, in your body, and your spirit. You can ground through your hands, through your feet, and your whole body, actually. So let's practice grounding, okay? You can sit in a chair, you can sit on a couch, or you can even sit on the ground. You may stand against a wall or hard surface. You can lie down on the bed or the floor. Once you are in your position, I want you to pay attention to your feet. What does the ground feel like? What do your feet feel like? I want you to take 2 deep breaths. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. What does the surface you chose feel like? Okay, now I invite you back into the presentation space. And I would like to thank you for participating in that quick little grounding exercise. So resourcing, I get a big smile on my face when I see resourcing because it is one of my favorites. And resourcing it means what uplifts you, what gives you strength, what brings you joy, what brings you peace. Resourcing can be internal, like personal characteristics that you have. It can be external, like positive experiences and memories, and can include people, places, activities, skills, hobbies, spiritual guides, and animals that give you joy, peace, and a sense of calmness. Resourcing can also be imagined resources. So what I mean by that is superheroes or superpowers or characters from books or imaginary scenarios that haven't happened. Again, resourcing is my favorite because it brings me instant peace and joy. So I completed the full play activity that you see on your screen, in which I invite participants to think about what brings them joy or peace and what are great characteristics about themselves. I then implore them to write these things down on a piece of paper or a paper plate. I then remind them that they may have a full plate of tasks that are unfavorable, right? But they also have a full plate of resources that can bring them back into their resilient zone, that uplifts them, that gives them strength and joy, calmness and peace. So the reason why I asked you to make sure you had a piece of paper handy or some writing utensils handy is because I want you to participate in resourcing with me today. Today I have with me a paper plate. Now I don't expect you to have a paper plate and that is okay. A sheet of paper will do just fine. What I want you to do now is write your name in the middle of that sheet of paper. And as I am speaking, I am going to write my name in the middle of my paper plate. There we go. So around your name, you can either draw a circle, squiggly, just so your name is separated from everything else that's going to be on the plate. I want you to write down on the plate what gives you joy, what gives you strength, what gives you peace, and some characteristics about yourself that are good or positive. I'm going to give you a few minutes to write that down, and I'm going to do the same. Now, you can continue writing if you need that time. I'm going to share my plate with you, some of the resources that I wrote. Again, I wrote my name in the middle and I separated it. I wrote Cameron, my husband, who brings me great joy. I said that I'm a leader. My family brings me joy. Music, which is what I started off this presentation with, music brings me a sense of peace, a calmness, and joy, my family and friends. And I wrote God because he's the head of my life, and I just draw strength from that. Now, whatever you may draw strength from, joy from, or peace, that is okay, because that helps you get back into your resilience zone. So the next skill that we are going to be talking about is gesturing. Gesturing is a movement, usually of the body or limbs, that expresses or emphasizes an idea, a sentiment, or an attitude. It's the use of motion of the limbs or body as a means of expression. These movements are usually self-calming. For example, when I speak in front of a lot of people, I tend to get very anxious, and it's stressful for me. Even though I like to do it, it's still stressful for me. So what I do, and I know that you've seen me do it several times, but I place my hand over my heart, and that reminds me that everything is okay and I will be just fine. So what I want you to do is think of a movement that is workplace appropriate, that can help you calm yourself. It may be a self-hug. It may be you pacing around the room to remind yourself that it's okay. Or a simple hand raise to signify, hey, I just need a moment. I'm telling you, I need a moment. And that's neither negative or positive, neutral. So what is a gesture that can help you? And a work appropriate gesture that can help you. So our next skill, shift and stay. Shift and stay means shifting your attention from something unpleasant or something to something neutral or pleasant, and then staying there. So moving your attention to a place in your body that is more comfortable, that is calmer or neutral, or using one of your resources that can put you in a calmer or neutral state. So with shift and stay, it can be paired with any of the other CRIM skills. I like to pair it with resource, and of course, because that's my favorite one. So with shift and stay, I turn my attention towards whatever or from whatever is getting on my nerves or knocking me out of my resilience zone. And I may focus on Cameron, my husband. Cameron is calming. I may think of a joke that he tells because he's such a big jokester. I may even think to myself, now, what would Cameron say if I acted out because I was out of my resiliency zone and I just acted out at work or wherever I was? And because I acted out, my household becomes a one-income household. I don't think Cameron would like that too much, so I can get myself back together and get on track to being in my resiliency zone. So you may choose to shift towards grounding, or to shift towards gesturing, or shift towards tracking. Whatever you may shift towards, make sure it is pleasant or neutral and you stay there. You don't focus on the past or what just happened that was unpleasant. So our final CRIM skill, CRIM wellness skill, is help now. And it means exactly that. Those skills are used to help you right now. There are specific actions to help you come back into your resilience zone if you are stuck in a high or low. So with help now, what you can do, we'll take several examples or several instances. So you can look around the room or wherever you are, and you pay attention to anything that catches your attention. You just look around the room and focus your attention on that. You can drink a glass of water. You can name 6 colors you see in the room or outside of your room. You can slowly count backwards from 20 as you walk around the room or as you stay still. You can notice the temperature of the room. You can notice the sounds within the room or either outside of your room. You can push your hands against the wall and feel your muscles contracting and how your muscles feel. These are strategies that you can use right then in that moment to help you shift your attention towards something pleasant or neutral. Help now strategies are immediate. And I notice within the education field, I sometimes use my help now strategies with my students, and I'll just try to distract them like, do you think it's cold in here? And they're like, what, Dr. Hamilton-Simmons? What are you talking about? Or, you smell that? Just to get them in touch with their senses or to shift their attention away from something that is unpleasant to something that's pleasant or neutral. So help now strategies are immediate. So moving back to this slide, I want you to take a moment and think about which one of these 6 skills would be the most beneficial for you. Think about why you like this skill. What is the difference about this skill, or what is different about this skill from the other skills? Could you teach somebody that skill? Okay, so what I want you to remember is the goal is for you to be able to operate efficiently and effectively in your resilience zone or your just fine zone. So which skill are you going to take with you right now? And that moves me to the self-care plan. I want to leave this self-care plan with you so that you can truly have something to take away from this presentation. These questions will help you have self-care. So they are, what are you doing already to help widening your resiliency zone? Remember, some people's zones are narrow or wide depending on the things that have happened in your past or your current state. How can you incorporate the CRIM skills into your daily life? And which skills or skill would be the most helpful to you? Okay. So as we near the end of the presentation, 2 of the desired outcomes, well, one of them was to understand that you cannot pour from an empty cup. And the other one was to apply and understand how you use socio-emotional learning and CRIM in your daily life. So it's my hope that you have gained this knowledge and much more. I truly want you to take care of yourself. I truly want you to take care of yourself. You cannot give what you don't have, or you cannot pour from an empty cup. Take care of yourself. And this is really important to me, and I'm going to share my story. So about 4 years ago, I lost the person who meant everything to me, and that was my grandmother. My grandmother took part in helping to raise me, and she was just my hero. And after I lost her, I was easily knocked out of my resilience zone. I mean, anything could just knock me out. And I was no good to no one, especially myself. Like I said, I believe that I'm a helper, and I believe that I really do have the gift of helps. And I couldn't do that during this time of my life. I was really struggling. So I had to pull on some of my CRIM skills to truly help me, which were resourcing and help now skills, to help me figure out how to stay in my resilience zone, along with other things that I incorporated into my life. But the CRIM skills really did help me in my professional life. And help me remember that I could not pour from an empty cup. And I want you to remember that. Fill yourself up, okay? It's okay to take care of yourself. So I would like to thank you for your participation in this session. It's my sincerest hope that you can use these CRIM skills to remain just fine. As you exit this session, I'll ask that you please use the QR code to provide me with some feedback. I want to respect your time, and I want to make sure what I presented to you was useful and how I can better present this and what may have been useful to you. Okay, so please go ahead and scan that QR code and take that quick little survey for me. So we will end how we began. Just so you know, you will be just fine.
Let it go. Can't let this thing called love get away from you. Feel free right now, go do what you wanna do. Can't let nobody take it away from you, from me, from we. No time for moping around, are you kidding? And no time for negative vibes, 'cause I'm winning. It's been a long week, I put in my hardest. Gonna live my life, feels so good to get it right. So I like what I see when I'm looking at me, when I'm walking past the mirror. Don't stress through the night at a time in my life, ain't worried about if you feel it. Got my head on straight, I got my vibe right, I ain't gonna let you kill it. See, I wouldn't change my life, just fine, 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 fine. Ooh, fine, 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 fine. Ooh, just fine, 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 fine. Ooh, see, I wouldn't change my life, just feels so good when you're doing all the things that you wanna do. Get the best out of life, treat yourself to something new. Keep your head up high in yourself, believe in you, believe in. Having a really good time, I'm not complaining, and I'ma still wear a smile if it's raining. I gotta enjoy myself regardless. I appreciate life, I'm so glad that it's fine. So I like what I see when I'm looking at me, when I'm walking past the mirror. Ain't worried about doing what you're gonna do, I'm a lady, so I must stay classy. Gotta keep it high, keep it together if I want to get better. See, I wouldn't change my life, just fine, 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 fine. Ooh, fine, 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 fine. See, I wouldn't change my life, I ain't gonna let nothing get in my way. No matter what nobody has to say. Oh, I ain't gonna let nothing get in my way. No matter what nobody has to say. Feels so good when you're doing all the things that you wanna do.
Thank you once again for joining me. I am Dr. Tambryme Hamilton-Simmons, and you can email me at tambryme.hamilton@gmail.com if you have any questions, or you can follow and tweet me at Dr._T Hamilton. Once again, thank you for joining me today, and don't forget to fill out that survey in the QR code. Thank you, and you enjoy the rest of your day.